And also because I know how mean people get when like pictures of me surface on the internet. It's gotten to a point where I actually had the thought in my brain of what surgery and how much surgery do I have to get for people to finally stop calling me ugly on the internet. I can't post a picture of myself on Twitter without a bunch of people telling me how ugly I am. That's hard. Simultaneously wishing people to share a lot of myself with the world these days. I'm trying to be less active and check less and scroll less and read less, mostly because when I do look at things or read things on social media, it makes me upset. It makes me like a worse person, I think. It makes me, harbor a lot of feelings of guilt, doubt, anxiety. To also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats. When I tell you that it's hard, I just mean to be inside my brain. That's hard.
Snow White was meant to lock in her stardom, the kind of role that stamps a career for good. Instead, it flipped the script and turned into the project everyone side-eyes. Now people point to it as proof of how fast public opinion can switch up. And the wild part is this whole mess feels like it was warned about ages ago. Walt Disney himself once said, "Snow White should never be remade," and that line hits different now. Decades later, the Walt Disney Company pushed forward anyway, and the backlash didn't even wait for release day. The second the trailer dropped, reactions got brutal, with people joking that even watching it on a plane wouldn't be worth the seat. Others kept asking a blunt question everywhere. Why was it so hard to cast someone who actually matched the character's original look? One viral comment said it straight. The name Snow White no longer made sense, and that alone set off a massive debate.
To what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. Yeah. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
A lot of people are very mean, so when I do public appearances like that, I'm very anxious. I had an anxiety attack. I can't post a picture of myself on Twitter without a bunch of people telling me how ugly.
Petitions to cancel the remake blew up fast, racking up massive dislike counts and putting Disney in a super awkward position. The company went quiet, and that silence only made things louder online. Every hour, it felt like the backlash doubled, and people took the lack of response as confirmation that something was seriously off.
But imagine you spend $250 million and you get some young girl and you don't kind of talk to her about hey, don't get political. You're young. And I know you have opinions about things, but this should be just about the...
So now they've put it all on her. Now they've failed. Here's what happened. She made the cardinal error of saying free Palestine on Twitter. So she could say all that men are bad and it's this and that. But once you do that, now they've put the entire weight of the failure upon her.
Then the changes rolled in, but not the kind anyone asked for. Practical effects got tossed out and replaced with heavy CGI, swapping familiar characters for stiff designs that looked more like unfinished video game models than storybook icons. Even the forest was fully computer-generated, which had people asking one big question non-stop: where did all that budget actually go? The music cuts pushed things even further. Classic songs disappeared, including "Someday My Prince Will Come," along with the prince himself. Instead, audiences got a renamed character and a storyline that felt more like a lesson than a fairy tale. By the final scenes, it played out like a weird social experiment, and the audience reaction made their feelings loud and clear.
No longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White. She's not going to be safe with the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be. I think I watched it once, and then I never picked it up again. I'm being so serious. I watched it once, never revisited Snow White again.
I'm really giving people an opportunity to use my content as a way to bring me down about things that I say.
People weren't buying it at all, but there was one thing that rubbed folks even harder than the movie itself, and that was Snow White's lead actress. The issue wasn't her talent, it was the attitude. A lot of viewers felt turned off by what they saw as arrogance that followed her long before the film ever hit screens, and that vibe stuck. Back in 2020, Rachel Zegler publicly went after Jeremy Renner, labeling him a racist, sexist, transphobic garbage monster over claims that were later disputed and widely challenged. When someone replied and told her to learn the facts before speaking reckless, she fired back with, "Better catch my mouth 'cause she running." That line spread fast and left a bad taste for a lot of people. That response didn't fade with time and stayed tied to her image. Things didn't cool off either. She openly dismissed the original Snow White, made comments calling the prince a stalker, and repeatedly said she deserved the role more than anyone else. To many fans, it didn't sound confident, it sounded self-focused and dismissive of what came before. She even laughed at the idea that her co-star's scenes could get cut, which felt wild since she wasn't directing or producing the movie. Ironically, that attitude became the main reason some people said they wouldn't buy a ticket at first. What started as a side issue quickly snowballed, and the drama escalated faster than anyone expected.
Rachel Zegler's Snow White is officially the worst movie of all time on IMDb, so this is her fault. Really, Snow White is bad because this is Zegler's movie and not Disney's movie. It's her movie apparently. Like bro, posts like these, the review bombing on IMDb, and everything else in between the belly buttons have all been putting blame on Zegler for how Snow White is performing.
One of her co-stars was Israeli and openly showed support for Israel, and that instantly created visible tension during the movie's promo run. That alone sparked non-stop debate online, but things really escalated when a post from Rachel Zegler got linked to another actress receiving a wave of harassment. The situation became so serious that personal security had to step in. And that's when it crossed from messy to straight-up dangerous territory. From that moment on, whatever goodwill the movie had left vanished before it even had a chance to fail on its own. The internet had already locked in its verdict, and Rachel became the main lightning rod. Memes flooded every platform non-stop. Comparisons popped up everywhere, including jokes linking her look to Edna Mode, and those posts spread fast. Once it started, it never slowed down, especially on Reddit. Users broke down screenshots frame by frame, flipping stills from the movie into viral edits and fan-made artwork on Twitter. Hashtags like #NotMySnowWhite exploded, with people openly roasting the casting choice and questioning how the evil queen was supposed to be jealous in the first place.
But the reason why Snow White is flopping at the box office is not because of Zegler, it's because of Disney! And what's stupid is that they aren't taking any accountability. Like I read this article where Disney was playing heavy damage control because insiders at Disney are using Zegler as a scapegoat. For example, yes, I agree, her saying that the original Snow White is weird probably wasn't the best PR move.
Thousands jumped in stacking jokes, side-by-side comparisons, and edited clips that spread faster by the hour. Things got even messier when people found out the dwarfs were fully CGI instead of real actors. The explanation floating around online was that Rachel is 5'2", which made her not much taller than a little person, and that detail only poured gasoline on the chaos.
I can also be having the greatest time and simultaneously wishing people would stop sending me death threats. When I tell you that it's hard.
That excuse sparked even more mockery, with users joking that Lord Farquaad had somehow made a comeback and ended up being more likable. Petitions calling for her removal from the movie started circulating fast, backed by fans saying her ego pushed them away long before the premiere ever happened. What started as criticism quickly spiraled into obsessive behavior and threats, showing how far online outrage can go once a public figure becomes the main target. As Rachel Zegler later shared, the backlash didn't stay online. She said it spilled into real life, with people standing outside her apartment yelling insults and shouting profanity. That raised a serious question for many watching from the sidelines. Did she really deserve all of this, and what kind of toll did it take on her mentally? She admitted the backlash hit way harder than she ever expected. At one point, she admitted she almost quit social media completely because it pushed her into depression. The non-stop criticism weighed on her so heavily that she even thought about plastic surgery, not because she wanted it, but because she felt slowly pressured to change. Her posts became less frequent, then nearly stopped as she tried to escape the noise. All she wanted was for the chaos to die down, but instead it pushed her toward a breaking point. She spoke openly about feeling haunted by the hate, saying people showed no sympathy. She said, "It's getting sick. I don't know how much more I can take. It's haunting me. I cry every day. I just want it all to stop." Those words made it clear how overwhelmed she had become, and the situation was far darker than most people realized. And then it got worse. When the movie finally hit theaters, reports put the production budget around $270 million, with marketing costs pushing the total past $400 million. Expectations were sky high, but what followed was a disaster. Opening weekend numbers came in way below projections, followed by a massive second-week drop that raised serious alarms. The film needed close to $500 million just to break even, and it didn't come anywhere near that mark.
This was all when Disney knew very well they just made a bad movie. And also the film had issues long before its release, such as the ballooning budget. There was an unclear marketing strat, and apparently this was all one person's fault. Because the reality is that the trailers, the marketing, the songs, and pretty much just the entire idea of a live-action remake made people not want to watch the movie.
The ratings told the same ugly story. Scores on platforms platforms like IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes landed painfully low, and viral clips on TikTok and Reddit showed nearly empty theaters. Some theater employees even said, "I didn't know it was out," while others talked about single-digit attendance across multiple showings, which said everything without saying much. That left one unavoidable question hanging in the air. Who was really responsible for this collapse? And more importantly, who was actually to blame? A lot of people rushed to point straight at Rachel Zegler, acting like she directed the movie, wrote the script, designed the visuals, and personally told the studio to throw $500 million at a remake nobody asked for. That version of events makes outrage easy, but it isn't reality. Rachel didn't control the budget, the creative direction, or the decision to remake Snow White in the first place. She wasn't calling the shots behind the scenes. The most disappointing part came next. The Walt Disney Company quietly shifted the narrative. Almost overnight, it stopped being a Disney failure and suddenly became Rachel Zegler's movie. And that switch-up didn't sit right with a lot of people. Instead of owning their own creative and financial choices, the studio let a young actress take the full blast of the fallout. That move only poured more fuel on the chaos, inviting heavier trolling and harsher commentary online. Critics piled on with exaggerated takes claiming her performance ruined everything, while completely ignoring that the movie was already in trouble long before release. Even comments tied to the producer's family didn't help matters. Claims started circulating that she dragged personal politics into the promotion and risked the work of thousands. While her words clearly upset a lot of people, dumping the entire collapse on her shoulders never added up. Blaming one actor for a massive studio failure felt more like a convenient escape than an honest explanation. Ironically, this is where public opinion finally softened, at least a little. Some viewers started pushing back, saying they didn't like her behavior, but still didn't support harassment or threats. That shift mattered because the tone online had gone way too far, and more people began calling it out. Others pointed out something that had been missing the whole time. Rachel is a human being. She's flawed, she makes mistakes, and she says things people don't agree with. That's normal, but none of that justifies extreme hate, stalking, or non-stop abuse. There's no denying her mental health took a serious hit through all of this, especially after everything piled up back to back. Now the real question is what happens next? Where does her career go from here? And does Hollywood finally learn something about using young actors as shields for corporate failures? What do you think about how Disney handled this situation? Was Rachel treated unfairly? Or was this backlash always going to happen no matter what? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Fame Rant Daily for more deep dives into influencer and media industry drama, power abuse behind the scenes, and the stories that don't get talked about enough. This story might be over on TV, but online, it's far from finished and the next one is already lining up. I'll see you in the next video.